Good morning, everyone. How are we today, guys? I thought I would do something a little different today because there was a case that came in here and she'd been working with the Facebook. So this is really, I got a good idea that I thought that we should do some case studies. So I'm going to read over this case and show you how to connect the dots when you have these advanced cases. Matter of fact, I have two of them here. I have a lad that's 19 years old that has a laundry list of problems. And so I want to do more case studies with you to show you. I know I have a ton of questions here, and I do want to get to those, but I think going over these cases will help you to see how it's easy to connect the dots and why people suffer and stuff. Because sometimes we tend to look at things as individual problems, but if you look at the processes of the body, it works as one. So it becomes very simplistic when you look at acids and the lymphatic system and what happens in the inflammatory process and stuff like that. So I want to go over these with you. There was a case a lady brought to my attention, Cassandra, about having, I think she has interstitial cystitis, I think, but how that she was on raw foods and it just made her hurt more and more, and she was told to push through it, and it just got worse and worse and worse. So when you have a lot of urinary tract problems, bladder or kidney problems, particularly interstitial cystitis, they're burning bad. The raw foods can definitely really feel like you're going worse. When you have something like that, I really go to the more subacid fruits and the sweet fruits. More like the grapes, very good balance there, even into some of the sweeter fruits, the figs, the dates, and the bananas and stuff like that. I would say this, that for those going through this, if pain gets too intense, stop, back up, and break it for a little while. Try to balance out. Have some steamed vegetables. Think about slippery elm, mullein, marshmallow, maybe even a little aloe ingestion. Things that are anti-inflammatory. Things that are soothing to the mucosa. The Heal-All tea. Make that a little light, but it's full of those anti-inflammatories and healers. Things like that will be very helpful when you have a raging bowl of acid stuck in the wall of the bladder or anywhere else. Sometimes it's you can't just push through things because it's too intense. And so when you're Facebook people, when you're working with people, sometimes when it gets intense, break them down a little bit, slow them down a little bit, get them where they balance out, and go further, because there is going to be pain involved in the process of moving these acids out of the bladder and everything. There's no question. But we can buffer all that a lot with the herbs and the herb teas and things like this. And then we just have to know when to back up a little bit and let them take a break and let them rest down and then go a little more. Because there's hardly any detox move that's not going to cause them some discomfort, especially in interstitial cystitis and things. It's just right in your face right there. So that's something that is important to learn to slow up in some of these things. But Cassandra, you keep working yourself through this and get this lymph filtering, get your adrenals up so you got more steroids to help you with the acids and stuff like this. And then think about the marshmallows and the slippery elms and the mullein teas, stuff like this. Even our 3-lung tea, even that more for upper respiratory and sinus would work well. Mixing that with the Heal-All tea is a good soothing, but yet breaking up this acid and mucus and stuff like that, be very helpful to that. Sometimes people are in a lot of pain. You can't always just push through things, but you guys are doing so good. It's not a negative thing. It's just that there's just sometimes we have to go slow on some people because they're just so acidic, in these areas. And some of this interstitial cystitis are really painful. That's why the blessing of the herbs are great for these guys. So let's go over a case here, because I want all of us on the same page and how we identify people's problems. And this individual gave me permission to talk about her and her case here. So I'm going to start reading this case, and as we go along here, we'll tie all this together for you. Now, her eyes, I remember, showed a lot of sulfur. And so you automatically know when you see a lot of orange in a person's eyes that they have high sulfur problems. They have a lot of burning in the bowels and the gut. Some people can't feel that, and others, they start to get the acid reflux, but of the sulfur kind. And this is just a burn all through there. They can get gassy and bloaty during detox, especially if they eat veggies like cruciferouses, your Brussels sprouts and cabbages and cauliflowers and broccolis. Wouldn't advise it when people have real sensitive to gas and bloating. Matter of fact, best to get off of those in a detox anyway. They're not detoxifying foods. To me, they're only so-so. Any veggie that's high in sulfur probably should be avoided to some extent. Interesting how we steam those to break that down a little bit. The family history is interesting when you look at this person. It's full of depression. It's full of parathyroid issues. So let's go down this case and talk about this. See, I had no vaccines as a baby due to how it damaged my brother. Now, again, when you get into vaccines here, I just can't believe that federal judges just are bought and paid for like this. This is not even funny. There is a wealth of cases that prove that right after the vaccine, there was convulsions, there was serious neurological problems. And even some people, like in polio, when they started vaccinating for polio, which they still do, they were using live vaccines, and I think I read something where they still do, although most polio vaccines are not live anymore. This is the extreme stupidity of these people introducing live organisms into a toxic environment. So those that didn't come down with that, of course, had less of a toxic environment. And again, we talk a lot about this. I was overall pretty healthy growing up, and I asked about her brother, and it's not good what happened to him with the vaccines. Had my tonsils out at 16. So immediately when someone has their tonsils out, immediately they were having lymphatic problems. Tonsils are the lymph nodes in the throat. So immediately they were having GI tract problems immediately. And that probably in the wall, and we call that interstitial lymphatic constipation, which is exactly what interstitial cystitis is. But also malabsorption and all this. It's backed up all through the gut wall. Matter of fact, when the lymph system's backed up in the bladder, it's backed up all through the patient or client or friend or parents or whoever you're working on. It just is backed up all through them. And especially when the tonsils are out, you can tell they were really backed up interstitially, meaning around the cells, all the way through their bowels and intestines. And things seem to slowly decline from then on. Needed glasses at 18, and eyes get worse every year, started getting allergies. So immediately that her lymph system is getting worse, because all they did was remove the symptoms and the signs to tell you that the lymph system was backed up. Not understanding this from an academic viewpoint and suppressing the natural health people, even back in these years, they made everything worse. Their egos have done nothing but make their side get worse, and the humans suffer and do nothing to help mankind. So it's just been that sort of thing. But going back to investigating the Rockefellers and those people that started the AMA and the consciousness behind that, it shows you why that infiltrates the education of that. Now, I started turning hazel. So that means immediately, of course, she's starting to get her lymph system backed up big time. It's even changing the color of her eyes, and she's noticing this. let's see, waking up with low back pain and having IBS. So immediately you know that irritable bowel syndrome, that's that tonsil backed up the lymphatic system through the bowel wall. Now it's burning her intestines from the inside out. So she's getting that IBS. Her eyes are getting blurry from the lymph system. Hair became brittle and thinning, started to see a chiropractor because of the unstable joints. She started getting unstable joints. Her joints would come out. Her shoulders would come out. Then diagnosed with asthma. So immediately you know, wow, we have an adrenal gland problem here. Well, we knew that already when you guys know the lymph system. The lymph system is the eliminative organs are the kidneys with the adrenals on top controlling that. So we already know that because her tonsils were out, that she had a lymphatic problem, that this problem came up through the GI tract, so that gave her IBS. Okay, so now it's in her head because she's getting blurry eyesight and she's having trouble seeing with that. Her hair's thinning because now the lymph is backed up, because you know it backs up all through your body. So now she's losing her hair because of the acids. Her eyesight's going because of the acids. Her joints are going because why? Why? How does the body deal with acids? Well, initially the adrenal steroids are what the body uses to fight acidosis. Cortisol, progesterone, all the cortical steroids, the steroids that are highly based in cholesterol. That's obvious. When the adrenals are down, the steroids are down. No matter what the blood work shows, the adrenals are down, the steroids are down. Then you start to see the body has to grab something else besides adrenal steroids. And being a systemic problem, there's acidosis head to toe, more work than weak adrenals can do. Then you're going to see the cholesterols coming in. But the other thing you see coming in is the loss of calcium. Remember, calcium is what the body uses to fight acids. It'll steal it out of the joints, particularly those joints you're working all the time. That's where you're creating more acids in the joints that you're working all the time. And that's where the acids are accelerated and they're pulling out. So then you start having joints, loose joints, snapping and cracking and popping. And that becomes problematic when what? When you have a parathyroid weakness and you can't put that calcium back. So now you don't have a way to solidify and strengthen connective tissue or skeletal tissue, and you start losing that. All right, this you're diagnosed with asthma, which is a neurological component to congestion in the lungs. So now you know her adrenals are down for sure. Or she's got to have low blood pressure at this time because she has low neural response to the lungs. This is the autonomic nervous system. With stomach problems coming in, that could exacerbate that problem. She was given inhalers, of course, not understanding. Again, medical not understanding what's up. So this suppressed congestion in the lungs, and so therefore this created more lung and breathing problems, oxygenation problems. Hangovers would become severe, and my left top of my rib collarbone started popping out of place and needing adjustment every week or two. Finally, at 26 years old, I crashed, hair falling out by handfuls, brain so messed up I could no longer drive. Throat muscle contracting, closing off. Well, is there any reason? First of all, she's highly lymphatic up, no tonsils, so they didn't do anything to fix her. They just removed the effect, so now she isn't any tonsils, so the throat can have more lymphatic, like a lymphedema, so her esophagus is swelling. Being low in calcium, she gets spasms and convulsions, spasticity, so she gets strictures, still probably not knowing that the diet can exacerbate this whole thing. No one's helping her there. Her throat was contracting, couldn't swallow, jumping and jerking at night, extreme dizziness. So you know immediately with the extreme dizziness, this is the cerebellum right back here in the back of the head. So, but that makes sense, doesn't it? Because now she's losing her hair by the handfuls. She's got her constriction of the throat and spastic throat. She's got she's getting the neck problem. She's getting the shoulder popping out. Her joints are popping loose. So you're starting to see this is an extremely acidic, extremely lymphatic person. Her eyes move from blue to hazel, and so you're starting to see that subacute stages of lymph toxicity coming in, a higher acidosis to the body, this dizziness and vertigo. This is all the cerebellum here. Now it's affecting the cerebellum. a severe constipation because her nerves are down. Now she can't, her peristalsis and the thickness of the wall of her bowel is slowing down peristalsis. Was tested for Lyme, and my natural killer cell test showed there was low. So she had an NK cell, a natural killer test. Now these are your T's and your B cells. Now this becomes a little more serious because your B cells are bone marrow cells and the T cells are your thymus cells. But your thymus cells were originally B cells, so it always starts out in the bone marrow. Well, that means her bone marrow is breaking down. Well, what could break down bone marrow? Well, the same thing that breaks down any tissue, acids and the lymph system. And the problem with this is a denser level to get to. So this person is saturated with lymph stagnation, and the symptomology is all over, even deep into the bone marrow. She said her natural killer cells was as low as AIDS patients. So does that give you an indication of why AIDS? You know, HIV is just a virus, easy to detox out of the body. Why the AIDS? And that's going into like Hep C viral loads as opposed to hepatitis, stuff like this. Remember the role of viruses or antigens. They attach to weak cells. That's their job. If you don't have weak cells, you can have viral loads all day long. You get an HIV virus in your body all your life and not have a problem. When you see attachment, when you weaken the cells of your body, nature responds to that. Remember, nature responds to weaknesses. Termination. Not knowing what to do, I took 1 year of antibiotics and herbs. Then homeopathic tincture to detox, but it only crashed me even harder because homeopathics is not a detoxification system. They might use it as that, but that's not what they're good at. That's not what that's not their focus. They're still treatment-based thinkers. They should be there. They're the best at that, and they're good at that. All the past should be homeopathics. Then 1 year ago, I woke up with my heart racing so fast, I went to the ER. Fluid in lungs. Does that make sense? You know, what are the 3 things that your body uses to fight acidosis? Cholesterol, calcium, and edema, water. You start trying to hydrate. The body's in an effort because dehydration is the effect of acidosis. Fluid in the lungs and severe pancreatitis, gallbladder removed. See, here's another thing. Remember, the GI tract is the trunk of this tree. So when she's backed up and the tonsils are removed, this is so much more serious than people realize because their whole tree is backed up lymphatically. The gallbladder and liver is just a branch over here. Her liver enzymes are elevated, of course. And then over here she had pancreatitis. That's just a branch. So you can see why she had both of those things. She has this all up. She has it in her lungs. She has it all through her. And so this is the lymph system chewing on her at every tissue you can find here. Then they just took her gallbladder out, of course, typical kind of thinking. But pancreatitis went on for months. They didn't know how to fix her. That's why you guys are extremely valuable. And this is why we're going to do more of these protocols to help you guys on YouTube and all you guys out there working with others. You medical doctors, all you practitioners, it's important to have these case studies with you so we can go over these. You can feel confident that you can take a case like this and fix her right back up. Not a big deal. These are not individual problems. They look to be individual problems, but they have one systemic problem. And it goes all the way back to her kidneys and her adrenal glands originally and her inability to move lymph. And that's what this caused then became a systemic nightmare for this case. Stomach is huge. She's bloated up. Candida is high because she's full of sulfa drugs. So she has high candida, just exacerbating everything and leaving uric acid in their wake, which is adding to this huge acidosis pool. Candida never lets up. Liver stings all the time. Her liver's burning all the time. Of course, it's full of acids in the wall, just like the pancreas still is. On this end of time now, this is where this individual can start getting cancers because these acids now have been in her so long that it starts becoming intracellular acidosis. That's not what you want. Before it's intracellular or in the cell is still able to remove these wastes outside of itself. We call that inflammation when you lose filtration of the kidneys. Legs and arms get extremely sore and swell. Purple under the eyes is dark as soon because you know she's losing her kidneys, and that's just telling the world that she's having kidney problems. Her lower back, she's losing her lower back. Her nerves running down her leg are problematic. Her circulation's involved going down the leg. something stings and my brain feels swollen. Well, she's getting swelling of the brain. And this is really problematic. And then you get the pressures in the head. And this is, this case, okay, I'll keep going. And I'm so tired I could sleep forever. Scary tired. So she has absolutely low neurotransmitters, no energy. Her endocrine glands are crashing. Her pituitary can start crashing. That'll crash the thyroid and parathyroid, which you know she already has a parathyroid with her joints always popping out like this. I'm worried I'm too weak to even detox. I never had a detox reaction from juicing and fruit. And I could bring her whole case in here, but I won't do it. But it's just to say that you don't have to worry about going slow with this case. I would not go slow with this case at all. I told her, pedal to the metal, honey. You've got to get these adrenals up, and this is a case where a glandular is instrumental. If you use an herbal formula for the adrenals, it's going to be a slow wind for this case. This case is chronic enough to where you really want to get the 400 milligram adrenals and 2-3 times a day, because her blood pressure's got to be in the dumpsters. Probably 80 or 90, I think it was, over. And she had seen it down to like 80 or 70 something over 54, which she's losing her kidney integrity as well. So this is a very serious case with kidney and adrenal glands. Her nervous system's down so low. Well, you're going to perk it up, baby. You're going to kick it up. You're going to hit those adrenals hard. You're going to open those kidneys up, and you're going to tear into this lymph system. So I would definitely do the 2 kidney formulas, always one capsule, 1 tincture, 2 lymphatic formulas. You could start with 1 for a couple of weeks to a month. You know, maybe a capsule, help pull that lymph clean on the bowel wall, help to pull that sulfur out. But then you're going to go right on up to 2. 1 capsule, one lymph node. This is a case you're going to keep them on Parasite M for a while because they're full of fungus. And your idea is to get this fungus under control. It'll help her keep her diet under control. This is a person that should be all fruits. I told her no vegetables. You have no energy to digest them. You have pancreatitis. So this is a need. You can use the liver gallbladder formula. A great formula when you have these type of problems because it'll enhance the function of the liver, but it also will reach over and touch its brother, the pancreas. It'll enhance their functions while you're trying to get this lymph moving out of her and get her filtering. Getting her on the stomach and bowel formula, instrumental, getting her bowels moving. I think I use number 3 on her or whatever. You can use a number 5. Whatever you have to do to get that person moving their bowels every day is key. Very instrumental in moving bowels, no matter what you have to use. You don't want to slip on up on a laxative if you can help it. My number 5s are just right there, but they're not laxatives. And that, if you can stick with that one, because you want to get her peristalsis going, you want to get the lymph hydrated, her interstitial fluids hydrated. This will back down the inflammation, back down the fluid retention, getting her kidneys filtering. So a lot of the kidney herbs are diuretics, so it'll help pull the water out of her and help her to reduce some of this swelling. All the GI tract and stomach swelling, she's full of sulfur. You got to get this out of her as well. And you're just trying to reach up here and get this brain drained. Using these neurolymphatic points down your back is going to be instrumental in helping her to get this cerebellum and getting her brain drained because she's swelling here with acidosis. And it's just going to break down her eyes and give her macular degeneration, glaucomic pressures, which is lymph pressures. These are all bad, bad, bad. Now her joints are popping out and all this. Parathyroid, guys. Jump in on that parathyroid. I would use a glandular. Sorry about it. Go with that parathyroid. I would do 1-3 times a day, and I would add kelp to her diet. Even though I put her on mostly fruit, I would add kelp, at least 1 or 2 capsules of 500 milligrams, probably 3 times a day. And you want to get her up on that because that'll give her high loads of calcium and iodine, which will help be a little trigger for the thyroid and parathyroid. Then you're going right to that parathyroid. I don't have her case to see if she has pituitary or whatever, but you want to work in that focus, because to get this swelling out of her brain and get this dizziness and equilibrium, this cerebellum clean, you got to clean down below. That's why you're scratching and pulling and cleaning all the way up. Get her on the GI broom as soon as you can. This starts opening up and starts cleaning and cleaning, getting those kidneys to filter, getting her sweating. The cold sheet treatments, I'd kind of wait till her energy goes way up, but then get someone like this on cold sheet treatments where you're pulling these toxins right out the skin. You know, start opening this individual up, and she'll walk herself right into Wellville. You know, and these are cases I wouldn't hold back. You know, this is a case where she needs to kick it up and kick it up yesterday. So these are the cases I'd really, you know, dig in on and really go after that. And I hope that'll help you to get that, because as you move the lymph, as she restores her calcium utilization, these joints will all become strong again. Her connective tissue will become strong again. All the swelling, edema in the lungs and everywhere will come out. Everything will go back to normal. Her vision will go back to normal. Everything will go back to normal with her, and then she'll have a life again. And this is not a complicated case at all, and one that you guys have done a good job with. But I heard there was a little, worried about this case. No, this is an easy case, but you can see the systemic effects of this case, of what happens when the lymph system's backed up. When someone has a simple tonsil removal, what that could be, and what happens with that. I want to go one more, because this lad is 19 years old and he's really asking for desperate help here. So let's look at this case too. So these are 2 case studies I want to give you today, and then we'll do more of these. If you let me know if you find this helpful to you guys. I hope it is, because this is what it boils down to. You guys are smart as all get out. You guys know the ins and ups. You know what's up with the lymph system, with the acids and all this. And I think from here on, I'm going to, get to all the questions, of course, but I think that these case studies will help you to see what you do when you have a case facing you that have multiple problems. Don't freak out with that. That's why I have the school to go over these cases in class, so you can feel confident that, and walk with confidence that you can take care of a case like this. Even though they have multiple symptoms, you know they're linked to one big cause. And as simplistic as that sounds, it's that simplicity that also will give them a remedy that will actually heal these people up. And they need this. These people are crying out. And unfortunately, we don't. You guys are the one people of the world that can give these people remedy. Naturopaths are walking down bad roads with medical doctors. And unless you're a naturopath or a medical doctor that gets this, your practice is going to suck. You're not going to get that wellness that you want out of your clients. And that's what you want. Forget about the money. You want the wellness to happen to your clients. That's the key. That's the love. That's why you're a doctor. And that's of any level in terms of in the health field. And so change your concepts of helping getting people well. Forget what your associations are controlling you at. Who cares about those guys? That's the problem with some of these associations that control these professions. They limit you. And it's like, that's why naturopaths never liked an association that controlled or licensed them. Because then it controls how they can help somebody. And that's ridiculous. We're way beyond that in this world. We have so many people hurting. This girl started out as a baby, and this lad is 19 who begs for help. He's got some serious problems. So he's a great lad. You can tell that. It's ASTRONAWT. So let's go down and look at this guy. All right. First thing up on his list is muscle weakness and severe muscle fatigue. All right. So I want you to think about this. What side of chemistry, there's only 2, what side of chemistry you think could make things weaker, that breaks things down? Acids, right? So that's an acid side of chemistry, that's doing that. But also think about muscles and what controls muscles. The nervous system. And which nervous system controls the muscles? The autonomic. Well, the autonomic has 2 parts to it. Parasympathetic, sympathetic. Parasympathetic comes right up at the back of the head, and the sympathetic ties right into the adrenal glands where you get your neurotransmitters. They come together right in the solar plexus or stomach. So it's a big deal. So in working with somebody with weaknesses, first of all, you're going to go to the kidneys and you're going to go to the adrenals. Always, every time. I don't care what you write in here with, every single time you're going to go into your adrenal glands and you're going to go into your kidneys and you're going to fix them. You're going to get them filtering. And this is why we have these filtration signs like this. Beautiful lady that put this together for us. Or this one I like was Matthew put this together for us. That's what you're looking for. And the importance of I can't overstate to you, because this is the process of how you get this whole lymphatic system that's backing up in people head to toe. How do you get it moving? So first of all, you have to address the lymphatic system if you want to correct weaknesses. Then you're going to go into the nervous system to correct weaknesses. The nervous system runs with neurotransmitters. So you got to get the adrenal glands up. This lad probably is running low blood pressure, 19 years old. It's probably very low. So you're going to help to bring this up. And I use adrenal glandulars for that because these are chronic cases. And then I'm going to start moving lymph. I'm going to empower this. The other thing you can assume here at 19 years old is there could be some malabsorption of nutrients, amino acids or whatever. Weaknesses implies, more energetic loss or neurological loss, but still, you want to fix 4 processes in every one you look at, whether it's this lady here or this gentleman here. You want to fix digestion. You want to get into the liver and gallbladder and into the pancreas. Well, why would they fail? First of all, genetic weaknesses, but what creates weaknesses? The acid side of chemistry and the lymphatic system. The blood is the kitchen. Granted, we haven't been eating right, and that's been the problem, and that's why we're dealing in bad kidneys and bad bowels, is the high-protein diets, all the milk is saturated, the body's full of mucus. Absolutely. But that's a given change. We know that. You must change your diet if you want to be well. If you don't want to, then don't just go out and live life and die a miserable life, because that's what you're going to probably end up doing. You have to change your diet in today's world. You've got to get more raw. You've got to go to more fruits, berries, and melons, especially humans, and start getting your nervous systems, your mind, your consciousness back. Things like this. So you're going to make sure digestion is improved, absorption, so that's all lymphatic problems again. But you can use liver, gallbladder, formulas and stuff like that to help this lad to get better digestion. Then you want utilization. That's the glands. You want to check this lad's basal temperatures and make sure his thyroid's up. If he's, same with this girl. If she's so weak and tired, she probably has the adrenals down. She probably has the thyroid down. Now she gets racing. And I wanted to go back and just tell, she gets what we call the Brady-Tachy syndrome. The Brady-Tachy syndrome is that sometimes the heart rate will move up into tachycardia and then go back down into bradycardia, real slow and then up real fast. All of these events are neurological events. So again, you're going in, you're going to move lymph, which can block nerve flow. You're going to also fix the adrenals, which increases neurotransmitters and increases neural responses to the SA node. You're going to clean and repair everything, including the heart muscle. Just no different than any other tissue in the body. Same problem. And it'll bring this lady's tachycardia in balance. And it'll also bring the thyroid, because the thyroid could even be doing that. And the thyroid can shift from hyper to hypo simply with an agitated, her brain is swelling. Well, so immediately that could stimulate the pituitary to overstimulate the thyroid at times, or overstimulate the thyroid itself at times. So you can see that you're seeing that up and down, that stimulation innervation syndrome that's going on in her. And this is true with a lot of people. To restore balance and homeostasis, if there is such a word, and bring some degree of balance and performance to the cells, is to focus on the lymph. The nutrition, you already got that down. You're going raw, you're going mainly fruits, berries, and melons, and the detox, maybe a salad a day. You're gonna really move that into a nice way. If you want a juice, you're gonna add the power to that. Maybe add a superfood blend. You're way beyond nutrition now, and not necessary. The big necessity of all these people is to move their lymph systems, because if you can't change the outcome. No matter what nutrition you give somebody, you can't change the outcome. I have people in here that are nutritionists that suck down all the superfood blends and suck down all the vitamins and minerals, still having their problems. Why? Because it's the wrong system. The system they're having problems is the lymphatic system. Okay. Now, body-wide muscle twitches. All right, so you're going back to the nervous system with this lad again. His nervous system is weak. It's so weak that he's convulsing or twitching here. That's not good. We don't want that. So we're going in the adrenals. I like the brain and nerve number 2. It's a strong formula to work with this. You can also add an antispasmodic herbal formula. That on top of the brain and nerve, you're getting a lot of nerve power with a lot of nerve herbs. And antispasmodic will help this twitching. At the same time, you want to think, maybe he's losing calcium. Maybe I need to look at the parathyroid as well. Because if I take too much calcium out of it, you'll go into convulsions. You'll start twitching, seizing, things like this. So that's something we want to look at as well, is the parathyroid gland. Also for weaknesses. So we want to look at the parathyroid gland. Even in his tongue and his genitals, he's twitching. So we're right in the autonomic nervous system that he's having a problem with, and that's right at the adrenals and kidneys. And it takes you right back to the lymphatic system again. He's got stiffness, especially in the neck and shoulders. He's locked up here with lymph, and that's all lymph not filtering down through this young man's kidneys. That's why those neural lymphatic points on your back, my friend, is key to work. Have someone work that and break this loose, even though you want to keep working down where the kidneys, because it'll start turning on the kidneys as well. These neurolymphatic points are essential to work on to help you. I'm telling you. The stiffness is just lymph, not going anywhere. It's making you stiff, but it's an acid stiffness. And in that, you have nerve weaknesses. And that's why the twitching. Severe lightheadedness and pressure in the head. How many cases are we seeing this over and over again? And this is a 19-year-old. This is why I tell you guys, this is what's happening out there. The pressure in the heads, and this is 19 years old. And there's pressure in his head. He's stiff. He's tight. He's gonna lose his memory early on. If no one fixes this lad, he's walking in Alzheimer's in his 30s. I mean, this is a real serious issue. His cerebellum's involved. He's dizzy right back here in the back of the head. Of course, that's the stiffness that he feels. His blood pressure can start swinging all over the place. So this lad needs to move, and that's, of course, telling you right there. All this is more information for you guys to show you that it's the lymph system. That's all this is. Just showing you that this lad is really into the lymph system. A shortness of breath. That goes into that neurological response again, and how weak he is. And I'd be real careful, my friend, about neurotoxins. That's pesticides, herbicides. Make sure you wash everything that you eat. Make sure you get away from any neurotoxicity that you know of. Get away from smells of gasoline and petrochemicals, plastics, things like this. Severe lightheadedness, with a shortness of breath. Get that adrenals up, brain and nerve. Get the nervous system up, and you'll breathe better. You can work on your 3 points here if you want to. Heart palpitations, especially with deep breathing and straining. So again, this guy's having probably low calcium utilization, low neurotransmitters, so he's getting all these type of palpitations, all these type of problems. And the lymph can even be backed up in his heart as well. Chest pains, again, constriction of the heart muscle can cause chest pains. Gas from undigested foods can cause heart pains. There's a lot of things here, and you're going to go down and correct every single thing because your focus is cleaning up his diet. You're going to get his adrenals and kidneys up. You're going to start getting his lymph draining. You're going to start pulling this pressure out of his head and out of his neck. You're going to start draining that out of the heart, so any edema, anything like that's going to come out of his lungs. He's going to pull mucus out. He's going to oxygenate the body better. He's going to feel more power in the muscles from nerve and better oxygenation. Intolerance to cold, low thyroid, right there. So immediately his thyroid and parathyroid's down, right there. So you're going to get those two up there, and then you got to worry about, look at his height, look at things, see if you can determine if he has any pituitary problems. Extremities more prone to falling asleep and going numb. Well, all this pressure up here, my friend, all this stiffness and tightness can squeeze the nerves going down the hands, and your hands can fall numb, especially if you lay on one side or another. I wouldn't lay on my left side for a while. That's where most heart attacks take place, is the people that sleep on their left side. Sleep on your right side if you have to, or your back. But this, again, by moving this out, he's getting tremors, okay? So his nerves are suppressed, his nervous system is down, his calcium utilization is down, his thyroid is down. What are you going to do? You're going to turn everything on, baby. You're going to get that diet, the high energetic, highest chemical diet out there. You're going to turn this guy back on. You're going to get the adrenals up. You're going to get the kidneys filtering. You're really going to turn this lad back on. You're going to use some antispasmodics for the tremors. You can use the brain and nerve formula to strengthen, to bring more. Upper circulation might be good too, to bring more oxygen into the head. But you got to get this lymph draining there. Intolerance to nervousness, anxiety, and stress, going right back to the adrenals and the autonomic nervous system. Frequent urination and weak bladder. Again, that's where the problem is already in this lad. You know, so he's got a lot of inflammation, probably has an inflamed prostate as well. So again, you're going to go in there, you're bringing in alkaline chemistry, it's going to back down the acid, it's going to create rehydration, it's going to start moving fluids better, it's going to get filtration. So all this inflammation, all this acidosis is going to come out of this client. Stomach pains. There you go. See, it's all up in his gut. He probably has malabsorption going in there too. So he's not getting the nutrition he needs. He's not getting the oxygen he needs. He's not getting the nerve power he needs. So his muscles are weak. He's fatigued. All of these things. Stomach pains, another thing. You use the Hill Teas, the stomach and bowel formula is essential in all these cases. This will help get these pains out of the stomach. He's probably in the wall, again, burning through the wall again. Hoarseness, so he's full of mucus. He's congested here in the throat and in the voice box. Pupil size is diversity, meaning this is the autonomic and the central nervous system. So this is all the acidosis, weakening the central and the autonomic. He's got the parasympathetic back here that can affect pupil size. All these things like this. Ringing in the ears. He's got pressure in his head, of course, which is going to create ringing in the ears. He's got tingling in his body, of course. His nervous system's going down. He's highly acidic. That's the tingling sensations. Erection problems. Well, he probably has low testosterone. His prostate's inflamed. That affects that little puppy. Cyst-like bump on right buttock. Dermatologist calls whatever. Furuncle. But anyway, cysts are just pockets of fluid. These are all lymph not going anywhere. Your body's trying to expel them through the butt, on the face, in places like this, common places, and it's just going to open up and try to ooze this stuff out of him. And that's key. That's a sign right there that this lad is having lymphatic problems. Sorry, I'm going fast, but I only have a few more minutes, so I apologize with this, guys. I'm just grabbing these two cases to show you what you can do with these cases, because you Facebook people are so good. You're helping so many people. I am proud, and I love each and every one of you guys. Keep that in mind. This is a training tapes here on this site, and this is for you guys that are working as being healers. I know we have medical doctors working with this. We have naturopaths. We have all levels. We have homeopaths. But these are the things you have to look at, guys, when you look at these cases. Don't get overwhelmed with the multiple symptoms here. Do the connect the dots. Connect the dots. All right. Blurry double vision. That's obvious. He's got pressure in the brain. He's got acidosis. He can build up to glaucomic pressures in this lad. And he's only 19 years old now. And this is going on in the 16 years old. This is going on in the younger children, in the 7 and 8 year olds. That's why we need every one of you guys out there. Help forgetfulness. Well, again, he's starting in the early Alzheimer's. He's starting to get into that. And that's what I say. We got to turn this lad back on, get him going, get his nervous systems on, get his lymph cleaning, all of this sort of thing. Loss of balance and vertigo. That's all your cerebellum, my friend. That's that dizziness, vertigo, loss of balance. That's all your cerebellum. But that's tied to the stiff necks and the shoulders. That's also tied to the numbness in the hands, tied to the weakness in the muscles, in the breathing. Your nervous system's down. The heart arrhythmias. Erection problems, all these things like that. Loss of balance, vertigo, thinning hair. But of course, you're going to lose that. Loose skin. Of course, now he does loose skin. And here again, going to this lady and her loose joints. Loose skin. He has he's losing his connective tissue integrity. Well, this goes back to a cold intolerance. It goes back to the thyroid and parathyroid gland. So this is a case where you got to get his glands up there. That's why I like the glandulars. And I would have him on the adrenal glands. I'd probably have him on the thyroid and the parathyroid for a bottle or two. Pop everything up. It's probably genetic at his age. But then I'm going to do his eyes. I'm going to see if he has a pituitary problem. With the stomach and bowel problem here, and he might have pains not in his stomach. It could be in his colon. And if he feels like it's in his stomach, that's exactly the place where the pituitary is. And this could be a pituitary problem on top of that. He could have a great thyroid and parathyroid, but a weak pituitary that's suppressing the thyroid and parathyroid. That's the value of the eyes right there. But correlation. Loose skin, of course, that's, I used to weigh 280 pounds, holy moly, until I lost weight, though, exercise and ignorant standard diet. Cold feet goes right back to the same thing. Weight loss, I weigh 120 pounds. at 5'10". Now, low blood pressure, that's a given, my friend. That's your adrenals. That's why you're losing your nerve energy and nerve force. Again, we want to build that up. We want to get into the adrenal glands. You want to get your kidneys filtering, stop cleaning this out. Excessive salivation with burping and sometimes heartburn. Again, this is all about acids and the overstimulation of saliva, but also the pressure, and watch that you're not breathing while you're eating. Also, the inflammation in the stomach, all of that, of course, could go and pull into the liver, improper digestion. Restless legs, lower back, that's obvious, that's a nerve, that's twitching and spasming. Constipation, going back to the autonomic nervous system again. And the lymphs building up in the back. Severe abdominal pain right above belly button in the center of my stomach. That's your colon, man. And that's what I'm talking about. And that is probably reaching up and affecting your function of your pituitary. So with that in mind, you might start with the pituitary. I'd definitely get him on the parathyroid with that. So I'd probably do a pituitary glandular 1 twice a day, since the pituitary is just a little bitty fella. I would definitely get into the parathyroid 1 3 times a day if it was me. I'd give him some kelp supplements, no question about that, just like the girl with the looseness of the arms or the joints, and I would really go after that in that way. And of course, cleaning up the bowel is essential for this young man, because this isn't stomach, this is colon, I can tell you right off. In the center of my stomach, which radiates into my chest and around my heart, absolutely, and it will. This will radiate all up into here, absolutely, just what I said earlier here. It also radiates down to his genitals and rectum as well. So he probably has a whole spastic bowel going on here. Triggers alcohol, empty my bladder, sometimes not eating. It is outingrated for eating sometimes. So this is a case where you want to do small meals more often. You don't want to eat a lot of food at any one given time, and you want small meals more often. And that's how I would do that. And definitely the more fruit. Get away from the veggies. With this case, he doesn't digest well. So you want to do your fruits and your bellies and your berries and your melons. You also want to, like I said, do small meals more often with that. The Heal-All tea would be valuable in this case. Also, your stomach and bowel formulas, your lymphatic capsules. You could even use Heal-All tea capsules if you wanted to do that in that case. The antispasmodic, the brain and nerve, upper circulation, all these sort of things as well. The first severe body issue I experienced would be the abdominal pain. This started 4 to 5 months before the seemingly neurological issues. But of course, I've had an endoscopy which only revealed a hiatal hernia and acid reflux. Yeah, that's why, you know what, man, you got to understand the lymph system and what's going on and how to fix yourself. Get away from these tests. They're ridiculous. They don't show you nothing. You're interstitial, meaning in the wall. You're not going to see anything colonoscopy, endoscopy-wise, except a little burning on the outside, which is probably coming from the inside, which is worse. Let me see here. However, I am still, to this day, left with the stabbing, gnawing sensation above my belly because it's interstitial. It's in the wall. And that's a colonoscopy. That should be the colon. But still, they can't even see that because it's in the wall. Your eyes is the best way that you're going to look at that. Get a picture of your eyes and look around your pupil. And look right above the pupil, across the pupil, top of each pupil. That's your transverse colon. And that's where I think you're going to find the problem. You could have, even in the stomach wall, you could even have that. No question there. It could even be the valve. The weakness stuck spontaneously in both legs, the third day of ceasing chronic marijuana smoking. Now, that probably added to the suppression of the nervous system, since marijuana is a bit of a neurotoxin. If you're going to use it, don't smoke it. Use the oils, tincture it somehow, but do not smoke. Anything you smoke is acids into the bloodstream. It's going to suck the calcium out of you, and it's a little more of a neurotoxin at that level. So you're going to build up with these other herbs. Within a few weeks' time, I developed a small reoccurring muscle twitch in my upper right calf. I've been gluten, dairy, and meat-free, excellent, for 6 months. Unintentionally and gradually transitioned into 100% raw, essential for you, man. Now transition into a predominantly fruit, berry, and melon diet. I go as organic as possible, but cannot find organic melons. You find what you can. In today's world, you find what you can. I went on a strictly fruit diet for a month and just recently broke good with some fresh vegetable juices, which seems to have quite a pleasant, noticeable effect. You've responded to a comment of mine prior to this one, but I failed to provide you with required specifics. Marcy and I just recently had a consultation, and she was kindly advised the protocol. I am not fully satisfied until I hear it from the guru himself. Well, I trained her, so I hope she's a good kid, guys. So she's good. But that's what I would do, guys, to this young man and this lady too. You know, head off in this world of rebuilding and cleaning. You guys, I love you guys. You are so good. I apologize for being fast here for you. But the time is just not permitted to go in depth with you. I still have all your questions, guys. Hang on there. I'll try to get to them. Maybe this weekend I can come in here and sit here for 2 or 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, and get to your cases. So apologize if I haven't got to you. We're just so busy here. But anyway, I hope that helps you guys. I love you. Keep going, you Facebook people. You're beautiful people. All you healers out there, we'll go over more cases and more cases. If you've got a case you're having trouble with, send it in to me. We'll go over the YouTube here, because these are training videos, hopefully to help you to get in there and give these people their remedies. The world needs each and every one of you healers, because it doesn't seem like these modalities are getting with it fast enough. Love you guys. Have a great Thanksgiving, and I'll see you on the flip side. Remember the dreams.